The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone. Well, Mahatma Gandhi once said, "A nation's greatness is measured by how it treats its weakest members." And if that's true, America, you're in trouble. Last week, 2 pastors and a 90-year-old man were charged in Fort Lauderdale with feeding the homeless. 90-year-old Arnold Abbott, aka Chef Arnold, has been feeding the homeless for over 2 decades. But now, because of a new ordinance, he's facing up to 60 days in jail or a $500 fine. If you think this is wrong, please like this video, share it, and leave your comments below. This is not exactly an isolated incident. Over 21 cities in the US have now made it illegal to feed the homeless. Well, there's a lot of homeless people out there, so what are you going to do about it? Well, I know. One thing we could do is, how about we put spikes everywhere to deter them? All these bummy people sitting in places because they have nowhere else to sit. So let's make them stand. According to The Guardian, this is part of a wider phenomenon known as hostile architecture. Well, you know how it works. Well, there's spikes everywhere, poking my ass. I can't even sit down, so I guess I'm gonna have to quit smoking crack and get a job. Better go get started on that resume right now. Ugh. They got rid of all the benches, they put spikes everywhere, and still there are homeless people. I don't understand it. Why isn't this working? Oh, I know. Let's make it illegal to sit down. That's what they've done in Montreal and some places. A student got a ticket for sitting on a park ledge. One city in California has actually banned homeless people from sleeping outside. If they leave, then that's their choice. Other cities like New York have even given homeless people a one-way bus ticket to leave the city. This happens quite a bit, especially when there are Olympics. They tend to bus the homeless out. The government is determined to get rid of homelessness by getting rid of homeless people. Come on, people, stop being homeless. You're making us look bad. You're making us look like we give all our money to corporations and private banks and have nothing left for the people. But there is another way. It doesn't have to be like that. Eugene, Oregon came up with a Band-Aid solution, but a nice one. They have erected a small community of little tiny homes called Opportunity Village. The only catch is you have to be clean and sober. Of course, not everyone who's homeless has a substance abuse problem, but it's pretty common, and it ends up becoming a barrier to receiving services. Probably the best solution anyone has come up with is Utah's Housing First program, which has proven to be successful in reducing not only homelessness, but crime and prison recidivism. They finally figured out that if you factor in all the costs that a person incurs to the state by being homeless, including the cost of criminality, medical bills, all kinds of things, that actually it would be cheaper to just house them. And that's what they've been doing for $7,800 a year. That's the cost of housing a person. And unlike the other programs where you have to be clean and sober to have access to the housing, in Utah you don't. And what they found was that once people are given the housing, then they're more likely to clean up. I mean, it's almost impossible to clean up when you're living out in the street. And if you think about it, Abraham Maslow's pyramid, or the hierarchy of needs, at the very bottom are like food and shelter. And if you don't have those covered, then you can't meet your other needs and develop. So I think this is a very sensible and financially logical approach. I'd like to see more of that happening, because the fact is, you're popping up shanty towns in the US. That's where you're at now. And instead of helping the needy, the government wants to starve them out, spike them out, and bust them out. That's how poorly you're taking care of the weakest members of your society. And as for Arnold Abbott, the 90-year-old who was arrested, he says as long as there is breath in his body, he vows to keep feeding the homeless despite his arrest. Good for him. And in my opinion, these ordinances need to be stricken down, and we need to stop criminalizing homelessness and charity. So let me know what you think, and thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.